Metaphor Refantazio is the next big JRPG franchise from the same developers of Persona and Shin Megami Tensei. Metaphor Refantazio takes each of these franchises' best elements and seamlessly blends them into one game. The release date has already been announced for October 11th, but Atlus has been slowly giving us more information on what we can expect. Within the videos that Atlus has given us is even more information hidden between the lines that the casual viewer may not have caught, but that's okay because that's what I'm here for, and that's what we're gonna address in this video. And just to give you an example of what I'm talking about, you may not have noticed that they've already revealed 29 out of the 40 different classes within the game that you're going to be able to choose from. But before we get into all that, in case you're just joining the party and you need to be caught up, we're going to start with the story and work our way into all of the amazing things that Metaphor Refantazio has to offer. This is going to be a longer video, so feel free to use the timestamps that I have listed below if you want to learn more about a specific topic and not get the whole spill. Metaphor Refantazio's story begins when a kingdom is thrown into chaos after a king is assassinated and a royal magic is triggered. This royal magic starts an election that allows anyone of any social status to become the next king by gaining the people's support. This turns the kingdom into a political free-for-all as everyone wants to make their claim at the throne or back up the faction that they believe is going to be winning. The main protagonist is from an inferior tribe, but despite his social status, he begins looking for a way to break the curse on his childhood friend who actually happens to be the prince of the kingdom that everyone believes to be dead. While doing this, the protagonist learns that he needs to win this tournament to break the curse, and thus that sets you and the protagonist on your adventure to gain favor and make your claim at the throne. That's a quick summary of the story, and now we're going to get into a quick overview of the main cast. First, we have the protagonist, who's from the Elda tribe, which is branded as a group of tainted people by the state's religion because the Elda tribe is believed to have inherited a dangerous and heretical magic. Being so rare amongst the population, the Elda tribe is often discriminated and detested throughout the kingdom. Next is Gallica, your fairy companion, who's not going to be able to fight alongside you in combat, but she does pitch in where she can to help with her fairy magic. Now we'll get into the actual playable party members, the first being Stroll, who's a member of the Clemar tribe, who meets the main protagonist at the Center for Recruitment of the State Army. Stroll's a man with a strong sense of justice and he hails from a noble family, but it's a very weird and complicated circumstance because it's not common for noble people to enlist and fight in the army alongside commoners, so he does have that kind of backstory that you need to explore as to why he's fighting with the common folk. Next, we have Hulkenberg, who is a knight of the Rusaint tribe and a former member of the royal family's King's Guard who served by the prince's side. Despite her young age, she's very talented with weaponry and was assigned to personally guard the prince, but failed at that when he was attacked and she wasn't able to protect him. And so she set on a journey to just set out and wander, carrying the stigma of failure and waiting for the chance to redeem herself. Lastly, we have Heismay, who's a former knight of the Yuggoth tribe, and this is a tribe that's known for a trait that allows them to be very sensitive to sound, and obviously you can tell their appearance differs greatly from the other tribes, and like the protagonist's tribe, it's not uncommon for Heismay's tribe to be discriminated against as well. These in-depth analysis videos take a lot of time and work, so please let me know if you like them by helping me get this video to 100 likes, and consider subscribing to the channel. But enough talking, let's get back into discussing Metaphor Refantazio. We can finally talk about combat in Metaphor Refantazio, which is going to be the bulk of this video and where I think this game really shines. Metaphor Refantazio combines turn-based and action-based combat to provide a smoother experience. Using Gallica, your fairy companion's ability's face sight, you can analyze the danger level of enemies and decide which type of combat you want to use. Weaker enemies will glow blue, but stronger enemies will glow yellow or red. The action-based combat allows you to attack mobs in the open world, and this is called fast battle. Fast battling is used to clear weaker mobs and prevent you from going through an entire entry battle sequence to fight things that you should easily be able to kill. In fast combat, you can dodge your enemies or use attack strings that change depending on the archetypes that you have equipped. We'll go more into archetypes in a second, but for now, let's move into squad battles. Stronger enemies cannot be defeated through fast battling, which is where turn-based combat comes into play, and this is called squad battles. Even though you can't defeat stronger enemies using fast battling, they do have ways to provide extra effects to benefit you going into your squad battle. For example, If you continue to use attacks in fast battle before engaging in it, you can stun your enemy upon entry to that squad battle, or if you attack the enemy before they notice you using your squad battle, you're going to be able to get the first attack when you enter. Squad battles work similarly to previous Persona or SMT entries with two exceptions. You have your party listed with their HP, MP, their archetype, and turn order. The battle choices you have available to you are going to be to call the powers of your archetype, perform a melee attack, pass your turn, guard, synthesize, swap out party members, switch between front and back rows, or use an item. There's also quality of life features such as auto battling or rewinding time to replay a turn in case you made a mistake. This is all pretty standard, but the two exceptions I mentioned earlier are going to be synthesis and the crystal system. These are both two things that haven't really been expanded on in detail yet, but I'll attempt to explain how I believe that they're going to work. If you look at the top of the screen, you'll see these blue crystals here. In each turn, you'll get crystals equal to the amount of party members that you have in play. When you perform an action, it depletes those crystals. Based on which type of action that you use will also determine how many crystals are depleted. Once you run out of crystals, you hand the turn over to your opponent's team, who also then would have a set amount of red crystals. Now, the second exception, the synthesize, is in the command list and it states team up under it. And when you select the ability, it highlights two different party members along with their archetypes in the bottom right corner. This will be used to perform team attacks with archetypes that have synergy with one another. In a recent preview, they equipped the brawler archetype to all party members, and upon entering the first battle, you can see that they unlock the synthesis attack named Meteoric Fist. When it comes to utilizing these abilities, not only will they take MP, they're also going to take multiple crystals, which may force you to hand over your turn before the entire party gets a chance to attack. This is going to be meant to limit you from just spamming these synthesis attacks with every party member, because this is a finite resource that you're only going to replenish a certain amount per turn. This adds another layer of party customization for you to consider when building your party with different archetypes. They've strategically sliced up all the trailers to make it more difficult to actually understand the crystal system. So I anticipate this is something that they're trying to save to elaborate on in a reveal later, to show that the game has even more strategic depth than we ever could have anticipated. The majority of your combat though, and actually battling, is going to come from party customization and exploiting enemy weaknesses using archetypes. So let's move into discussing those two things. Parties in Metaphor Refantazio are going to be extremely customizable on a player-by-player basis, and that's all going to be due to the archetype system. Your party size will be 4 players, but the option to fill those 4 slots are going to increase. So at the beginning, I explained the 4 main cast, but it's been stated that you're going to be able to progress to have 7 characters added to the main cast once you get further in the story, which is going to give you 7 different options to choose from when you decide who you're going to play in that main party of 4. Each party member can equip a different archetype, and when you think of archetypes, think of this as Metaphor Refantazio's class system. From what's been shown, they possess an archetype rank, which can be leveled in terms of mastery anywhere from 1 to level 20, and this is going to be separate from the character level that's equipping them. So you have your character level that you're going to have to worry about leveling up, and that party member's level, and then you have their archetype mastery, which is going to be the mastery of the class that you have equipped to them. Archetypes, from what we know now, are going to be unlocked through bonding with your followers, and there still are some other methods to unlock them, but currently they're unknown. During squad battles, party members can transform into their equipped archetype, unlocking that archetype's special set of skills. And I keep saying archetype, but I feel like this is easier to imagine how this works if you just replace in your mind every time I say the word archetype with class or job system. But for the sake of being true to Metaphor Refantazio, I'm going to keep using the word archetype. Each archetype has its own set of strengths and weaknesses that you're going to be able to use to exploit your enemy. Similar to Persona 5, there's going to be 3 melee options and 6 different elemental options, and each option is going to have their own element that they're strong against and element that they're weak against. So pretty much your standard run-of-the-mill rock, paper, scissors weakness system, except for it's not 3 options, it's going to be 9 different ones. Now, when it comes to the variety of archetypes, this is something that hasn't 100% be confirmed, but from what I found, it looks like there's going to be a minimum of 40 different archetypes available for you to experiment with and equip to your different party members. Now, the way that I got the number 40 is that here it shows that the current archetype mastery is 10% with 4 of them unlocked. And then on top of that, if you count all of the available tiles, it equals up to 40 different tiles, which is how we get that number. There is some speculation that these archetypes are going to build upon one another and unlock subclass versions of themselves as you gain mastery. For example, you can start as the base archetype warrior, and once you get your mastery level to some, like let's say 10 out of 20, you'll then unlock a subclass, which is going to be the sword master archetype. And then once you max out the mastery on that, you can unlock the final subclass, which would be the samurai archetype. And that could also give reasoning as to why all of these archetypes are aligned this way, is because they are subclasses of one another. So I'm going to go over all of the archetypes that we know at the time of this recording and the summary that they have listed for them. And then after that, I'm going to go over the archetypes with no summaries that we know that have been confirmed. So first up, we have Mage. And the description is they use fire, ice, and electric magic, and it excels at hitting weak points. Next up, we have Warrior that's going to be skilled in physical slashes with the sword and cut down its foes with single target damage. Then you have Knight, which can increase its own defense and draw enemy attacks. It is going to be useful for redirecting blows and kind of taunting your enemy. The next archetype is Seeker, which is going to be able to learn a versatile set of skills, including wind magic, single target healing, and attack buffs, and kind of your Swiss Army knife. And then Healer, which like it says is going to be able to heal, and it excels at magical support and restoring HP, curing status elements, and casting light magic. Next up, we have Brawler, which expends life force to unleash strong blows and learn enhancements and automatic stamina boosts. And so you're going to be able to sacrifice your HP to dish out more physical damage. Lastly, on the one that we have lists of summaries for is going to be the Thief, which is going to be skilled at stealing items and mana points. And it also wields dark magic and attacks that cause status ailment. So as I mentioned, those are the archetypes we have descriptions for, and I'm just going to run through the ones that we have confirmed and show you this image so you can see where their placement is. And so first we have Gunner, Sniper, Cleric, Merchant, Pugilist, Magic Knight, Paladin, Dark Knight, Assassin, Ninja, Destroyer, Commander, General, Swordmaster, Samurai, Soul Hacker, Wizard, Warlord, Devil Summoner, Tycoon, Faker, and Magic Seeker. So that's 29 out of the 40 archetypes within the game. And just from reading that list, there's a very wide variety of archetypes that are going to be available. And these are the only ones that are shown on this image. And I'm sure that they're going to have some way where they're going to have some secret archetypes to reveal as you play the game that maybe you unlock through special means. And I mean, even if they don't, 40 is still enough because this 29 that we have already is pretty diverse. When it comes to dungeons, they stated that there will be more dungeons in Metaphor Refantazio than any Persona or Shin Megami Tensei game that they've ever created. There will be dungeons that are necessary for the main story, but there'll also be separate optional dungeons. With the current combat system, their goal is to make the pacing of these dungeons be significantly improved from past games that they've created, allowing you to spend more times on the challenging things or the things that you actually want to do. So with fast battling, you're going to be able to easily clear all the trash mobs and get to the final end boss of that dungeon, and then you're going to be able to invoke squad battles, which in my mind from playing Persona 5 is going to be a significant improvement when it comes to how long it takes to clear these dungeons. For side quests, there's no actually order that you have to take them in, and so the difficulty could vary significantly depending on what point you attempt to take that side quest. Now that we've hit kind of the common things that we see in a lot of games, we're going to hit the unique features of Metaphor Refantazio, starting with there being a traveling journey. As you progress through the story, your home base is going to move from town to town. In each town, you'll be able to ride around gliding on your sword and interacting with locals. Those interactions within those towns, such as side quests or bounties, will affect your popularity in the race as you attempt to take on the throne. So these side quests are also going to contribute to the success of the main story and your main objective. Next is the calendar system. And similar to Persona 5, Metaphor has everything that's going to revolve around a date and time system, and I feel like this has kind of become a signature when it comes to the Persona or the SMT series. You're free to use your time as you please, but main story objectives will have deadlines to complete by. Side story quests will have no deadlines, but you'll have to factor in things such as travel time. There is auto travel mechanic within towns, but if you want to travel between cities, you're going to have to ride on the Gauntlet Runner. The Gauntlet Runner is going to be your mobile base, but instead of having instant travel between cities, you're actually going to have travel time that could be something such as 3 days and 2 nights. This is gonna force you to factor in like, how am I going to tackle these side quests and how am I being the most efficient with my time in the calendar system? But while you're traveling, you're gonna be able to do things such as build social links with your companions or activities that are gonna be able to increase your stats. So think of this as kind of like your free days in Persona 5. You're also gonna be able to cook, read a book, talk with your friends, or just take a nap in a Japanese style capsule bed if there's nothing for you to do. Lastly, it's gonna be social links, and this is gonna be known as the follower system in Metaphor Refantazio. And this is going to allow you to bond with your followers you've gained during your journey. Improving these bonds will be essential as they unlock new archetypes for you to use, and they're going to help you stake your claim to the throne. As I mentioned earlier, there is a date system limiting you from interacting with every follower, so it'll be up to you to determine who you're going to prioritize. This does sound very similar to Persona 5 social links, but unlike Persona 5, there will be no romance available with these followers. I know that that's a bummer for some of you, but it does have to be included within this video. That's a detailed analysis of everything we know about Metaphor Refantazio for now, but if you're looking for JRPGs to occupy you while we wait for Metaphor, be sure to check out this video where I go over the top 10 turn-based JRPGs of all time. Thank you for your time, and I'll catch you in the next one.